you look at number 1 in your practice, we need to find the missing angle. In our notes yesterday, the missing angle was represented with x. Here, they're kind of representing that missing angle with theta. It's just pretty much a variable that's representing an angle. We can just kind of ignore that and use A. Theta is where angle A is, so let's just use angle A. That's what we're used to. Let's go ahead and label the sides. If we start at A and we go across from A, that's our O, it's opposite. If we start at our 90-degree angle and go across from it, that's our H, our hypotenuse. And the guy left over, that's our adjacent. It's going to be really helpful at the top of your paper, write SOHCAHTOA. If we look at the parts that we labeled, we were given this 12 and 13. 12 has an A, 13 has an H. If we look at SOHCAHTOA, we're going to be using cosine. That's the only one with an adjacent and a hypotenuse. So when you set up your ratio, it's going to be cosine of your angle A, we don't know what it is equal to that ratio. The adjacent over the hypotenuse. Okay, well, the angle is missing, so that means we have to use the inverse. When you find the inverse, you're actually going to be typing in the fraction, not the angle. So it's going to be the inverse of that fraction. And what you get for your answer is going to end up being your angle. So in your calculator, you're going to hit second, cosine, and type in that fraction. And if you round to the nearest tenth, it's 22.6 degrees. So there's the measure of angle A. Number 2 in your practice, again, you already have SOHCAHTOA written at the top of your paper, but I'm going to rewrite it. SOHCAHTOA. Okay, well, start with your angle. Again, we're dealing with angle A. That's where that theta is. So go across. It's our opposite. Across from the 90 is our hypotenuse, and the guy left over is our adjacent. Move this. Ooh. Move this a little over. Well, if we look at the parts that we have information with our A and we have information with our O. If we look, it's the only one with an A and an O. So we're going to set up that ratio. So we're going to do tangent of our angle that we're trying to find A is equal to opposite the O, which is 4, over the adjacent, which is 13. Again, we're trying to find a missing angle, so we are going to use the inverse. So in your calculator, you just have to do second, tangent, and type in that fraction. You get 17.1 degrees. That is the degree of your missing angle. Okay, go ahead and do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It is just like the problems we just did together. If we take a look at number 9, we have to find the measure of the missing side. So it's the same steps as before. You already have this written at the top of your paper, but I'm going to rewrite it. SOHCAHTOA. Then you're going to start with the angle that they gave you, 37, right here, and label your sides. If we go across, that's our opposite. Across from the 90 is your hypotenuse, and the guy left over is your adjacent. So the two parts we have an A with the 11 and an H with the X. we're going to use cosine. So we're going to say the cosine of our angle they gave us, 37, is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse. Well, put it over 1, cross multiply. Whatever's in the bottom, you're just going to stick in front of the cosine, and 1 times 11 is 11. We want to get x by itself, so you're going to go ahead and divide by the cosine of 37. And then all you have to do is just plug that into your calculator. You're going to do 11 divided by the cosine of 37. And you round that to about 13.8. And there you go. If we take a look at number 10, it's the same thing. You already have this written on your paper, but I'm going to rewrite it. So, ka, toa. Okay. Again, start with your angle and label. Cross is our opposite. Cross from the 90 is our hypotenuse. And the guy left over is our A. Well, we have an O and an A. If we look at SOHCAHTOA, that's tangent. So we're going to go ahead and set up that ratio. Tangent of our angle 32 is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. Put it over 1, cross multiply, we get 13 tangent of 32. Write that a little neater. Equals 1 times x is x. And this is really nice. All you have to do is just plug this into your calculator. So you do 13 tangent of 32, hit enter. X is equal to 8.1 if you round that to the nearest tenth, the length of the missing side. So then go ahead and try 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 on your own. Finish up the rest in this section. They are just like the problems we just did together. And then lastly, we're going to do number 17 together. And the directions that you need to solve each triangle around your answers to the nearest tenth. Okay? Well, when we solve each triangle, let's just find one of our sides. Let's find this side. Let's find our hypotenuse first. Okay, so go ahead again. You probably don't have it written at the top of your paper. Should have written it from the other problems on the back, but we're going to rewrite it. SOHCAHTOA. And let's label. Start with your angle and label. Opposite, across from the 90 is your hypotenuse, and the guy left over your adjacent. We need to figure out each side of this right triangle. Let's go ahead, let's find our hypotenuse first. We're going to say our hypotenuse is x. That's the one we're trying to find. Okay, well, if we were given our O, and we're trying to find our hypotenuse, our x, we want to use the one that has an O and the H, or that sign. So we set up our ratio. We're going to do sine of the angle is equal to opposite, which is 22.6 over the hypotenuse. Put it over 1, cross multiply. We get x sine of 62 is equal to 22.6. Well, we want to get sine by itself. X by itself, so we're going to divide by the sine of 62 on both sides. Cancel there. So then we have x equals, again, just plug that into your calculator. You're just going to do 22.6 divided by the sine of 62. That's about 25.6. So this side is 25.6. Okay, well, we have to find that other side. Well, again, we have our opposite. The next side we need to find, we'll call y, is our adjacent. Okay, well, if we look, we have an O and an A. We can use tangent. So we can say the tangent of our angle, that same angle, is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. And you do the same steps. Put it over 1, cross multiply. The box this off. So we end up getting x tan of 62 is equal to 22.6. Well, divide by the tangent of 62 on both sides. Cancels out there. So we get that x is equal to, again, you just have to plug that in your calculator, 22.6 divided by the tangent of 62. And that gives you 12.0. You round to the nearest tenth, it's about 12. Well, there we go, there are our missing sides. The missing angle, you just add 90. You do 180 minus 62 minus 90 in your calculator, and the missing angle is 28 degrees. And there we go. We know all the parts of our triangle. We have all the sides, and we have all the angles. Go ahead and pick 2 more to do from this section. Doesn't matter. Pick any 2. Try those on your own.